Imagine this. The U.S. Mint, the very institution that mints silver coins, just vanished from the silver market. The buy now button, gone. Not out of stock, not temporarily unavailable, just erased. No explanation, no warning. And if you think this is a simple glitch, think again. This is the start of something far bigger, a massive supply squeeze in the making. The silver market is about to experience something few expected, and the real reason for this isn't what you're being told. What's happening behind the scenes right now could set the stage for a major price surge. Want to know why? Stay tuned. Here's where things get serious. The U.S. Mint isn't just pausing sales, they've disappeared from the market. It's not about a temporary glitch or a technical issue. It's about a collapse in the very system that's been keeping silver prices under control for decades. The U.S. Mint is the gold standard in the silver market. When they stop selling silver eagles, and not just for a day, but indefinitely, it sends shockwaves through the entire industry. But this is just the start. What does it mean when the U.S. Mint, the most trusted source of silver, can't sell anymore? How does that shift the entire market? And here's the question nobody's asking. What happens when the rest of the world follows suit? The answer is far more dramatic than you think. Now let's break down exactly why this matters. The U.S. Mint didn't stop selling because silver got too expensive. No, they stopped because the silver isn't there. The reality is they can't get the metal. And you know what that means? The so-called paper price of silver, the one you see quoted on the news every day, is about to become a joke. While the spot price says $90 an ounce, premiums for physical silver have skyrocketed. Authorized dealers are reporting that it's 1.5 times spot, which brings the true cost of silver closer to $135 an ounce, if you can even get it. Notice what's missing here? The price you're seeing on your screen isn't what you'll pay at a dealer. That gap, it's the smoking gun showing that the system is cracking under pressure. The situation is already escalating, and it's only going to get worse. This isn't just about one mint. It's about the entire system that's been holding up silver prices for years. In fact, we're witnessing something eerily similar to past financial collapses, but with silver as the center of the storm. The price manipulation we've seen for decades is now hitting the wall of physical reality. It's like watching a dam crack, tiny leaks turning into a full-blown breach. And here's the thing. This isn't the first time the silver market has faced these kinds of pressures. In 2011, silver skyrocketed, but this time, the forces at play are far more intense. The system is no longer just under stress, Donnie, it's beginning to break down. And what happens when this pressure forces the entire market to revalue itself? A price surge? A crash? It's hard to tell, but one thing's for sure. When the mint can't sell, something massive is happening. Let's dive deeper into the cracks. The problem isn't just the U.S. Mint anymore. It's spreading fast. In fact, the physical silver market is becoming a disaster zone. Authorized distributors are reporting not only skyrocketing premiums, but also delays in fulfilling orders. They can't keep up with the demand, and it's not just in the U.S. The same thing is happening overseas. Meanwhile, the spot price you're seeing on your screen, it's completely disconnected from reality. Here's the kicker. Silver is trying to break through $90 an ounce, but every time it gets close, it's hit with coordinated selling pressure that drags it right back down. Why? Because bullion banks are fighting to keep the price from breaking that psychological barrier. This isn't price discovery. It's a battle to keep the market under control. But guess what? The harder they fight, the more apparent it becomes that the system isn't holding up. And that spread, the gap between spot and physical prices, it's the final warning sign that everything is about to flip. The pressure's mounting fast. Let's recap what's happening. The U.S. Mint stops selling, premiums for physical silver skyrocket, and the futures market is a disaster. But that's not all. We're seeing a huge wave of deliveries in January, 36 million ounces set for delivery just this month. The vaults, they're being drained faster than anyone expected, and the problem is global. The LBMA in London, they're on the edge, teetering on the brink of collapse. Meanwhile, China's new export restrictions just made everything worse, cutting off a key supply line to the West. The whole system is starting to spin out of control. What happens if this continues? You can expect serious price volatility. But even more alarming, we're seeing cracks in the global supply chain that could shatter the market entirely. This isn't a temporary issue. It's a global crisis unfolding right in front of us. So what does all this mean for you? For everyday people who are just trying to buy silver or even protect their savings, this isn't just a number on a screen. This is about real, tangible impact. If you've been eyeing silver as a hedge against inflation or a store of value, you've probably already felt the sting of rising premiums. But it's worse than that. The truth is, if you wait too long to act, you could be locked out of the market altogether. Imagine trying to buy silver now, only to find that prices are 30%, 40%, or even 50% higher than what you thought you'd pay. And that's assuming you can even get the metal. If the mint can't supply, if private mints are struggling, what happens when every dealer is sold out? You'll be left watching, hoping for a correction that might never come. If this situation feels familiar to you, or if you're already feeling the squeeze, drop a comment below. You're not alone in this. Here's where things get even darker. What we're seeing is more than just a temporary silver shortage. It's the culmination of a broken system. The way silver and precious metals in general have been priced and managed is a ticking time bomb. The reason silver has stayed relatively affordable for so long? A combination of leverage, fractional reserve banking, and complex futures markets that hid the true supply-demand imbalance. But now the walls are crumbling. The U.S. Mint can't source the metal at these prices. The physical market is in backwardation, a rare state where the price for immediate delivery is higher than future contracts. Why does that matter? Because it means people are desperate for silver now. It's a signal that the traditional market structure is collapsing. And what's even scarier, the system's incentives are stacked in a way that makes it impossible for the market to fix itself without a major reset. The game is rigged, and the silver squeeze is just the symptom of a far larger financial failure unfolding behind the scenes. Now, let's talk about what comes next. There are two possible paths forward, and both are terrifying in their own way. On one hand, we could see the system stabilize, but at a much higher price. The mint might start selling again, but at $120 or more per coin. The LBMA might raise fees or shift to cash settlements, driving a wedge between the paper price and the real price. It's a grinding bull market with price fluctuations, but with that 300 million ounce deficit always looming in the background. On the other hand, things could go completely sideways. The market could snap into full-blown chaos, a true silver squeeze where every short position gets squeezed, forcing the price up at a hockey stick pace. In that scenario, miners would see massive gains, and anyone who's positioned in silver could be looking at 100%, 200%, or more in gains. But here's the thing. No one knows for sure which path we're on. The next 48, 72 hours will be crucial. Will the pressure push the system over the edge, or will the central bank step in and try to smooth things out? What's clear is that the next move is already forming, and it's going to decide the future of silver for years to come. Here's the reality. The silver market is unraveling. The U.S. Mint isn't just pausing sales. They're admitting the truth without saying it out loud. There's no silver left. The fractional reserve system built to suppress silver prices is collapsing under the weight of its own lies. The physical market is screaming for metal, and the paper market is already starting to fail. So what's the one thing you need to understand about all of this? This is only the beginning. The cracks are getting wider, and the silver squeeze is accelerating. The question is, will you act before it's too late? The next few weeks could determine who makes a fortune and who misses out. If you found this analysis helpful, make sure you're subscribed, because I'm watching these indicators closely, and I'll be back with the latest updates. Don't wait for the mainstream media to catch up. By then, the opportunity could be gone. Act now and be ahead of the curve.